Hey, what's up? This is your girl Tommy, and I'm welcoming you to Authentically Secure, the podcast. I thank you for your time and considering sitting and chilling with me through this episode. Today's episode will be about friends, accountability, and perspective. This was based out of a conversation between some friends and I on a trip to LA over the pandemic. I know, but we needed to get away. And so one of our friends paid for the tickets and we were out. During this time together, we chilled, we relaxed, we laughed, we cried. We did everything the girlfriends do when they get together. So this episode is a little snippet of that conversation. I hope that you enjoy it. I hope that there is something that you hear that resonates with you, that sparks a conversation between you and your friends about where you are in life, being accountable to one another, and understanding and having the love and respect and mutuality between you to hear another perspective. So thank you and enjoy. Secure. I'm trying to get better at that. You are.
That's a progress for all of us.
All of us.
All of us. Because even with saying that I am not disciplined and consistent and poor, I can't manage my time, just starting to verbalize that in a more positive way. I'm not saying that I am a horrible manager of my time, but just even saying I'm not managing my time well now, but I'm going to become a better manager, stuff like that. Just it is, and believing it, and then putting in the work, which is the hard part.
It's a challenge, but you're doing it. I mean, really, all of us. I said this to you the other day when she was talking about something. Like, you've been doing it. Like I've watched you talk about what you wanted to do, and watch you little by little. She talk about buying property. Watch you little by little put things in place. It takes time, and for people who come from the type of environments that the three of us have come from, that wasn't shit that was taught to us. So we didn't had our little life, had kids, had families, had whatever, and now we're at this stage and knocking on the door of middle-aged women. Our ass is supposed to know something different, and we're supposed to be acting on that knowledge and wisdom that we learned in our previous years to build on going further. And for me, that's what this is about. I don't know where I'm going to be next year. I have no idea, and I don't give a damn. I don't care how people think about it. I ain't worrying about what it is. I ain't even worrying about, I said this thing, like, he was like, I can't just jump out of the box and just move. Anyway, Tommy, like, I need to plan. I was like, I don't need to plan. All I need to hear in my private time is, this is where you're going. I'm out. With or without you, you'll catch up if we're supposed to be together. Because I understand the urgency of hearing that. There's an urgency with that. You know why? Because whenever you're supposed to move, there's something there waiting for you to help you get to the next phase. So if you're procrastinating and playing around and like, oh, I don't know, I'm scared, I don't have enough money. I didn't have no money to go to Jamaica. None. You, and made sure I had a good time. All I had was my ticket that was paid for. That's it. Came back. I was sleeping in my car for 3 weeks. Didn't even know what was going to happen. I knew I was supposed to move from Jonesboro, though. And I wasn't worrying about, I know y'all both was like, why you ain't tell me? Because it wasn't meant to tell you. It was meant to just move. In my time, I know what I was doing. I know I was praying. I know I was fasting. I heard give my daughter all my furniture. Like, huh? I struggled with that. I ain't even lying. Like, listen, like, give her everything. I got this washer and dryer. But here's the reality of that. How would I have gotten it to New York, and where was it going to go? I wasn't going to pay for storage. I hadn't had no job yet. So, it's just about, and I'm not saying that that's your story. I'm just saying, understanding who you are and understanding what you mean. I'm a free spirit. We all free spirits. But that doesn't mean that there isn't some restrictions on how you fly. You know what I mean? Planes don't just get out here and fly. They fly in coded space, right? They have autonomy to fly within those ranges. Like, because if you make the wrong turn, the plane going down. So it's the same with us with life. And it comes from, all of our shit comes from childhood trauma. Not feeling good enough. Not feeling like you're worthy of somebody to love you just for who you are. Not expecting anything else from you, but just love you for who you are. You okay?
Yeah.
So, and just really doing it. That's why I told y'all, like, I'm gonna probably be in therapy for the rest of my life. Like, I will bear these scars on my body, the trauma that I experienced at the hands of a woman who was supposed to love me and care for me. That foundational piece wasn't there. It just wasn't there. What was there was abuse and neglect, and a lot of neglect. So that space that was supposed to be a healthy building block was completely distorted and perverted. So because that space was there, it was filled with all types of false narratives and false filters. So now as a fucking 46-year-old adult, I have to rebuild that. I have to rebuild it. There's no one else here to do it.
And it's like both of y'all said the trauma. So like, just like when I was a kid, my mom was on drugs, my dad was abusive, but my mom made sure that my dad always had a meal. She made sure that she even used to get up and iron his clothes for work in the morning. Like, that's stuff that I thought that, because when you're a kid, you're looking at these things and you think that this
that's how it's supposed to be.
And he was like, my dad was so abusive to my mom. Like, I woke up one time and you could just hear them fighting, and you could just hear stuff being thrown, and she yelling, don't do this, stop, don't do that. And the ambulance was called because he had done split her ear with he threw a plate that shattered and it split her ear in half. And it's like, I grew up in an abusive, I remember my dad dangling my mom over a banister off the second floor. It's like,
all that trauma.
It's so much. And so that you think that that's a norm, and it's not. And I wasn't even taught that it wasn't a norm. I just so happened to be watching What's Love Got to Do It with Tina Turner. Literally, like, and that's bad that nobody told me anything. I was watching a movie because I was in an abusive relationship at that time as a young child. I was 16 years old getting my ass whooped every day by a nigga. You know what I'm saying? We fist fighting every day. Like, and I thought that was normal because my mom and my dad used to fight all the time. I need to be by myself. I don't want...
You start having kids at 15, you're oldest
14.
So you've never been by yourself to even learn who the hell you are.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And I've learned myself in my 40s.
Yes.
Come on.
Yes.
Come on.
Yes.
I've learned myself in my 40s, and I'm an extravagant woman. I'm a loving woman. I'm a kind woman, but...
Don't get crazy.
I am.
We all are.
And I do have a shell. I do have a wall, but only certain people can come through. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm always going to be on defense. Always. No matter.
No, don't say that.
But I am. I'm just putting it out there. I'm always on defense.
So go to therapy, because everybody's not trying to attack you.
I know everybody's not trying to attack me, but it all depends on what kind of vibe I'm getting from you.
But so when let me and I'm telling you this from experience, and we've talked about this before. When you're in a position of being on the defense, it's because you've always had to protect yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody's not out to get you. But that's the perception that you begin to have for everybody. And so you shoot yourself in the foot because you don't allow people in. Because why? Because nope, I've already made up in my mind that I'm only going to let Quita in, I'm only going to let Tommy in, I'm only going to let such and such in. And that's it, ain't nobody else coming in. That is both beneficial and damaging, because you cut off a resource. You cut off a friendship. There are other people that's supposed to flow in your life to come and teach you something. You said that about these two friendships that we've both come into your life to teach you something. There are other people that are on the other side of that defensive wall that you have up that also are supposed to come in and teach you something. And you them. Like, this is reciprocal. You're not the only one that can learn something in this relationship.
Preach.
You know what I mean? Regardless of what it is that I learned, I know what it is in my private time. I don't get under the covers like Quita, but I have my private time where I'm meditating and I pray, and even though I don't profess to be a Christian, Christianity taught me about meditation, about prayer, about fasting. All of those are universal principles. They're just not limited to Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
And so because I'm a spiritual woman and I'm a woman of deep faith, I understand that you can't close off. You got to leave that door open. And your inability to do that stunts your growth. So you're only going to go but so far because you just threw up that wall. And you're asking people to scale the wall. Everybody's not going to do that. And the people that's supposed to come into your life, they're just going to leave you where you at, and you're going to miss something. You're going to miss something important that is meant to be. You might miss the other part, the person who's really supposed to be in your life. It might be your husband. It might be. But because you're set on, I'm a defensive person, and you're saying that, so you're reinforcing it. Your words are life. We minimize that. We are not taught that. Your words, when you speak them, you are affirming to the universe exactly where it is that you want to be. And so everything that comes into your cipher is based on the words that you speak. So if you're speaking negativity, guess what's coming in your circle? Constant drama and negativity. But if you're speaking life and love and wholeness and being balanced, because this thing is about being balanced, then that's going to come, and you have to be open to how that's coming to teach you. It's not going to be what we perceive it to be. It's going to be some shit that's, like you said, you was watching What's Love Got to Do with It, and said, I need to get up out this fucking relationship. Like, oh my God, I'm watching my life. Mm-hmm. That's something that came back. You know why? Because you put it out there that you didn't want to be in that situation. You didn't know how it was going to come, but it came through just watching a movie. That's how the universe works. It's called the law of attraction. You know, you can call it the Holy Spirit, we can call it the divine, we can call it whatever, but it is because you speak that, you put that energy out there. Energy is always moving. It's always looking to attach itself. You're either going to vibrate high or you're going to vibrate low, but you are a vibration. We are vibrations. I'm going to leave that there. Go ahead. I just wanted to say that because I've heard you say that before. And every time you say it, girl, my stomach turns into knots because I'm like, you're stunting your growth. For as much work as you've done, when you continue to put those reinforced bricks of what you're not going to do, you got to continue to open yourself up. Just continue to do, trust that. If you don't trust nothing, trust yourself to do that. Let me let one thing, just one thing at a time, let go of that idea that I'm going to always be a defensive person, which is going to keep you aggressive. It's going to keep you aggressive, and it's going to stop people who really need to impart something into your life from approaching you, because you're going to be on the defensive, and you're going to appear to be non-approachable. And we all know that that's not true. We don't pay you no mind, but we love you.
None at all.
You know, I said this to you guys, to you before, like therapy is...
But I've been in therapy, and I don't think that therapy helps me.
Were you vulnerable in therapy?
Yeah, because when before the therapist would even see me, she stated that I had to be transparent, and I was very transparent, and I just don't believe that therapy helped me.
Well, that might have been one. I've been through several before I found somebody who I felt like I had a connection with. Mm-hmm. It's not a cookie cutter situation. You know, it's something. Anybody who has been through the amount of trauma that we have been through as kids, there's no way you can function as an adult without it. I'm sorry, that's my own personal creed and belief. It doesn't mean that it's so for you. I just know you work in this field, we all work in this field. I've seen the devastation from childhood drama and trauma impact you as an adult. And there's no way that I know that I could physically be my whole self without learning these tools that I've learned from therapy. And I've been in therapy on and off all my life since I just petitioned the state of Pennsylvania to get my records from when the Department of Human Services, just when they started coming into my family. But the records that I got from the hospital, my first time going back to the hospital was in 1975. Shit, I was born in 1974. So for me, the abuse and the neglect started in 1975. Going back and forth. I got my hospital records, I got the records from the group home, and the last thing that I'm getting the records from is from the state of Pennsylvania. That's all of the history of anything. Because some of that shit I forgot.
Mm-hmm.
But it showed up.
So traumatizing.
It was so traumatizing. Your brain, your body does that to help you
Cope.
I was thinking that I wanted to be hypnotized because
you might. That's still a form of therapy. That's what I'm saying.
and I might have to do that because it, like you said, you block stuff out.
But then what are you gonna do with it once you get it?
I have to deal with it.
And so that's what I'm saying. Like, there's no way to watch somebody beat on your mother, just beat, hear that screaming as a kid. That's scary. That's scary. It is. We minimize it as women.
Up in the middle of the night with it. It's very scary.
We minimize it. You know why? Because, and I just said this to Black women are taught that we got to just keep going.
Mm-hmm.
So we push that to the back and we put the world on our shoulders. And I'm not doing that shit anymore. I'm making sure that I'm good. Whatever I need to do, I will never, ever, ever step foot back into a hospital, not as a patient, not because I can't deal with trauma from me. I was having PTSD. I was literally waking up in the middle. I swear it's one of the reasons why I have insomnia. Because I was having visions of people touching me. Like, even now, he says it to me, he's like, you're shaking, and all in the middle of the sea. Sometimes I could feel him. Like, I don't know what he's saying, but I could feel him, like, massage. I'm trying not to get emotional, but just massaging my back. That shit stays with you. And if I have to be in therapy for the rest of my life to deal with that so that I can have healthy relationships with people that I love and I know that love me, that's fucking so be it. That's why y'all laugh at me. I shut down because I need that time to recharge and reconnect with myself, because there's something else that's going on that impedes that, and it makes it difficult for me to relate. So I have to take that time for myself to shut down. And I've learned in therapy that that's okay. Take time, take whatever time that you need for yourself to continue to heal. Because whatever happened to us as kids, that shit is already in us. And guess what? Here's the other part. We done transferred that to our kids. So it's just, you have to, there's no other recourse for me. For me, I have to do that, and I have to do that in a way that's as loud as I live the dysfunction. So, so that my kids can see. It's one of the things that I'm the most proud of. Both of them, like, they get on me because the boys don't have the experience that they had. You know what I mean? But it's also something that they say that they're proud of. So I'm like, okay, good. I'm moving along. If they can see it, then I'm moving along. You know what I mean? Like, I expose both of them. Just, parking my car, jumping out, fighting with my girls in the car. Like, hollering and screaming, all that shit I was just reliving because I watched my mom do that. All of that had to be reversed. You know what I mean? And I had to learn how to love myself, because I didn't, Cody always said she thought her name was Bitch Me Too. Mm-hmm. Like, my mom called me all types of ugly bitches, and what the worst part of it was her finding her boyfriend fucking raping me, and she putting me out in the street, butt ass naked. So I had to deal with that as an adult, with children, trying to raise kids, trying to work, trying to have a job, trying to do all of this shit, and you suppress it. You just keep pushing it down and pushing it down. And Black women are taught to do that. Mm-hmm. We're just taught to do that. That's why our mamas didn't know how to do it. That's why I know my mom turned to drugs. She couldn't deal with it. My grandmother couldn't deal with it. She turned to alcohol. She was equally as abusive. And my great-grandmother didn't deal with it. She just cussed and hollered and cussed everybody out and treated people horribly. Horribly. So I don't want to repeat none of that shit. So yeah, I'm going to pay. I don't even, my insurance doesn't even cover my therapist. And I'm grateful that I have a job where I can afford to pay for it. And I'm grateful that I'm in a position where I can deal with that. I was on my way to the airport on my therapy session. You know why? Because my therapy session, I would have been in the air. And I called her Wednesday. I was like, listen, I'm going out of town. Can I change my date around? Because I understand how important that is for me to continue to progress forward. Like, I want to be able to continue to plant seeds in people's life. And I don't want to plant no fucked up, dejected seeds in anybody's life. I don't want to cause anybody to trip up because of my own shit, because of my own perception. So I'm going to continue to do what I need to do. The shit that we've talked about and the shit that you guys have shared with me, it's traumatizing. there is no way that doesn't impact how you act as an adult. It's impossible to believe that. Nothing in science and medicine says anything different. Nothing. So you have to deal with that.
And it's a lot of stuff I can't deal with because it's blocked out. That's why I want to be hypnotized. I know that I was molested as a kid, and the only thing I can see is a shadow. I can't see a face, and I want to see that face. I've been praying to see that face like every day. I remember where I was. I remember that they were tall, but the only thing that I can see is a black shadow, and I know I had to be at least 5 or 6 years old. We lived on Polk Street. It was in the basement. But I can't put a face there, and it's scary to me. And I believe it's one of the reasons why I'm scared of the dark. I'm petrified. That's why I sleep with the TV on. And it's a lot of stuff that go on in my life that trigger things that happened to me as a kid.
Yes, there are parts of us that our children see of us and understand about us that we don't even understand about ourselves. That's the beauty of it. Right, but it's also a place of accountability too. I told you, she told me before, my mom not gonna listen. My mom, she ain't gonna hear me. I told you this when we was in Jamaica. Like, she not gonna hear me. I understand that because I'm like that. You know, the girls say that to me all the time. You get so defensive when nobody's saying you a bad mom, and that's what I hear though. That's what I hear. I don't hear, I need you to just listen to me. I hear an instant attack, you're a bad mom, you didn't do. Because what? I'm busting my ass off, I'm struggling so that you have. They don't understand that those tears and that pain because that's not what that's not their reality. You saved them from that, right? They don't get that part. So in her mind, she just gonna, it's those things. And watching me pop off, I was coming through. What do you mean? Like, I'm going to shut you down. Me and you will talk later. I'm going to handle this. And sometimes we just, you got to painfully sit on the sidelines and allow them to figure it out because we put them in positions. We have put them in that position to be like, I ain't even going to go there with my mom. I ain't even going to tackle that wire.
I just hate them that way, that I was that way because I don't want them to feel that, oh, I can't tell my mom because she going to come, like you said, you're going to come through. I'm going to shut the block down, for real, because those my kids, and it's like that with my friends. But I just, maybe because it was just always me and my kids. As,
and y'all grew up together.
Basically.
As a kid, absolutely.
And so, I've always made it my business to make sure that my kids always had. They never had to want for nothing, period.
You still do it.
My kids was 14 driving to school in their own car. Like, I've always made, and I've never been with nobody that don't make sure that. If it ain't about my kids, we can't have no dealings, period. Because I didn't want my kids to struggle. I didn't want my kids to see me being abused, because I know that that's not the norm. So I was the abuser, So it was like...
it's still trauma, though.
It is. It's trauma. It's trauma. It's trauma. It's trauma. It's trauma. It's trauma. It's trauma.
That wraps up our show for today. I thank you so much for joining us for the conversation. Please check us out on all social media outlets. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Drop us a note or DM. Let us know how you enjoyed the show. And you can pick up this podcast on all outlets where podcasts are being played.